So it's been about 24 hours since I did my wet set, and as you can see, my rollers stayed pretty good. I left my hairnet in all night to keep everything in place. I didn't use a scarf at all yesterday since I wasn't going anywhere, so I just left the hairnet in to keep everything nice and sturdy. I did sit under my bonnet for about 20 to 25 minutes while I was getting ready, just to make sure that my hair was completely dry. It's been pretty rainy and humid here, and I wanted to make sure that I had all of my rollers completely dry before I took them out for you today. So some of the products that I'm going to be using and tools that I'll be using today are a wide tooth comb. You don't have to use one of these. You can just use your fingers. That works perfectly well. I find because my hair is so curly naturally that my hands just get really tangled in there. So I like using a wide tooth comb just to brush out my hair in the initial stages. It just kind of helps to separate everything and get it ready for the full brush out. And that's where we'll use our trusty Denman brush. And then of course we have our rat tail comb. And we're going to use a couple of the duckbill clips, and this will help to define the wave a little bit more and just keep everything nice and secure while we hairspray it and let it set for a little bit. And then I do have my scented orange flower pomade from Little Bits. I have a couple of bobby pins on my trusty magnetic bobby pin holder. And because I'm not exactly sure what style I'm going to be doing today, I know how my curls are going to come out. I know how the waves are going to come out, but I don't always know how I'm going to style my hair on the first day. I try to style it where I just leave it down and I, keep the waves as intact as possible. I find that if I can wear it down and keep those waves, it actually helps to solidify the waves for longer. So I'll have them for other styles throughout the week. But occasionally I will just go ahead and wear it up. I'll put it in a poodle, many different varieties, but I usually try to save those for later on when my hair has fallen a little bit, the curls have fallen. You'll see when I take out the rollers that my hair comes up quite a bit, so it actually becomes incredibly short. It looks really short. So throughout the week, it will start to fall, and it will. I'll be able to do some of those like longer hairstyles. So just in case, I do have a couple of my trusty hair combs, and then I have this really cute. It's like a bobby pin, but it is this beautiful kind of Art Deco-y crystal hair barrette. So who knows? We'll see. We'll work it out together and see what's going to happen. I also have my wonderful precious oil that I am so sad that it's discontinued. However, I did recently get the Olaplex number 7 bonding oil. I don't know if you can see that. And I haven't quite used it yet, so I will try that off camera and see if it's comparable to my precious oil. Hopefully it is, since I won't be able to get it any longer. So let's go ahead and start with taking out our rollers. So I like to take them out and just unwind them. I don't like to pull them out, pull them straight out. I feel like that kind of creates a little bit of frizz, and we want to not have frizziness. That is the whole plan. Okay, so the key to taking out these top rollers that we've turned the bar is to go ahead and remove the clip and then start unrolling it once and then unclip it. Otherwise, if you just try to unclip it and try to take it out like that, your hair will just get completely wrapped around there and you don't want to pull out your hair. So as you can see, we've got lots of nice ringlets here. So I'm going to take my wide tooth comb and just start brushing things out. So as you can see how much length came up. So as I said before, I measured my hair when it was wet just a week ago, and it was 10 inches from the nape of my neck. So now it barely even touches my shoulders when it's completely curly like this. The more we brush it out, of course, the more it's going to fall a little bit, and then throughout the week it will fall a little bit more. And it will settle in with those waves even better than it does this first day. So first thing I'm going to do is just put a little bit of the precious oil in. Okay, now we just start brushing. And honestly, unless you have a very specific style that you are going for, I would recommend just kind of brushing things out and seeing how your hair wants to go. Sometimes my hair just has a mind of its own, and even though I've done, you know, I've got something specific in my mind of how I want it, sometimes I just have to scrap that and go with what my hair wants. Okay, so I want to get a little bit of height just right here in this bang area. I don't like to have my hair completely flat against my head. I think it just looks weird on me. So I'm just going to tease my hair just a little bit, just here at this root area. Take a little bit of pomade. So whenever I do a little bit of teasing at the root or really anywhere, I like to use this is actually a teasing brush. I don't like to actually use this to tease. I don't like the way that the bristles, I think it creates too much. But I love the way the thin, kind of these thin bristles, if you lay it flat along your hair like this, it really helps to flatten down any of the frizziness, but it still keeps a little bit of, it keeps that, that tease on the inside. So you're actually not brushing all the way through your hair. You're just kind of taking this right along the outer edge. You can do that a little bit with a rat tail comb, but I find this works much, much better. And then typically I'll hold the area that I've already teased and brush from below. That way I'm not pulling everything out. The more you brush, the more you're going to pull out all of that volume that you've just created. So, and if you remember when I did my rollers and I put the hairnet on, I wanted to create this dent right here. And so it's done a pretty good job. And I will use a duckbill clip to kind of enforce that a little bit more. But right now I want to make sure that my waves on the sides are going to get formed properly. So you can already start to see them form. So I'm going to go in with a duckbill clip. I'm actually going to come in both ways to really secure that. And secure one up here. And then again, you're going to hold right here because you don't want to mess up that wave, and just brush down below. Okay. Now a little bit more pomade. And this side needs a little bit of coaxing at times. So if you take your rat tail comb and just kind of brush down and push forward, you'll help to coax that that wave to form. Okay. So the great thing about the late 30s and 40s is the women really embraced this fluff at the ends of the hair. And of course, I'm a big fan of that because my hair just naturally does this. So that makes it really good for me that's actually part of the style. And I love this look of having a wave and then having this nice big fluff of curls at the bottom. I think it's so authentic looking. It looks real, it looks natural. It's not a super structured style that you're afraid to move around and and actually live your life. A lot of these hairstyles we see are from models, are from actresses, and it's absolutely gorgeous and it's completely smooth and it's wonderful, but it's not real. There's no way that you could live your life with hair like that without it budging and moving, and it's just it's something that's just not attainable for everyday life. So I personally like to look for photographs of real women. Of course, actresses and models are real women, but I'm speaking of just everyday women who are doing their hair just like we are. They don't have hairstylists. They don't have people coming in and fixing their hair every 2 seconds to make sure that there's no hair out of place. So those are the styles that I try to emulate most of all. Of course, I love looking at beautiful models and actresses of the time and trying to see how I can do my hair like that as well. But I also know that a lot of those hairstyles are just not attainable for your everyday look. So I really encourage you to look on Pinterest. You can do a Google search. Sometimes you have to be very careful about what comes up. And just really look for everyday styles. I always loved going to thrift stores and looking for yearbooks from the eras that I love. Or just looking for old photographs. You can find tons and tons of old photographs at flea markets, at vintage shops, and just to see how, these women, most of the time, they weren't getting gussied up for a photo. These are candid shots, and so you really get to see how their hair was styled and how they were doing it just on an everyday basis. So that's really what I strive for. I've gotten away from striving for perfection and constantly having this non-frizzy, completely smooth hair that just doesn't move when you move. You don't want hair like a helmet. So that's what I'm striving for. So I hope that you can do that as well and understand that hair is. It's going to move. It's going to have flyaways. It's going to have some frizz. It's going to have fluff. And if you can just kind of embrace that, and then maybe you won't be as frustrated with doing your hair. So we are getting a little bit of good fluff going on here at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to spritz just a little bit of hairspray. This is my Kenra number 13. This is the perfect medium spray. So we're just going to spritz this a little bit. And then we're going to start working on the back. So just from me brushing it out, I can already start to feel the waves starting to form. And for me, again, I've been doing my hair like this for a really long time, so I can do it by feel, and just, you can feel where that ridge is, and just place your duckbill clip right along there. You may need to set up a mirror. I still have not figured out a way to set up a good mirror that I can see and still do my hair. But hopefully something will happen where I'm able to do that. So I usually have 2 little sections that I can clip down to create the waves. Okay, so we've got all those clips in, and then I just like to spray it and then sit for 15-20 minutes, kind of let that hairspray sit. A trick that I learned from Miss Victory Violet when I was her hair model in Paris for a class she was doing, and when she teased my hair out to here, it was crazy. Once she brushed it all out, and she took the hairspray, sprayed it here, and then with her hands, the warmth of her hands, she kind of cupped it around. She also mentioned that at home, doing something like that and then adding your hair dryer and kind of warming that up, it really kind of cements the hairspray. And my hair held like that for, like 2 or 3 days. It was insane. It is intense. I will say it's an intense hold. And with all the teasing that happened, it was a little difficult to brush things out. But I was amazed at how well that held. And of course, it works really good, especially on these kind of fluffy areas here. So spray a little bit, maybe add a little bit of heat from your hair dryer to really let that set. And then you can do that too on these waves. I try not to use as much heat on my hair, so I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and finish it up. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes, and I've allowed these to set pretty good, and we're going to go ahead and take them out and just finish the style. You definitely want to try and be as gentle as you can when you're taking these out, and then when you're brushing through, just kind of go in little sections. You certainly don't want to put a lot of weight on your hair and pull out the wave that you've just created. So just be gentle. So I don't want to brush too much here because I certainly don't want to brush out this lovely wave that we've just created. So I'm just going to try and be as gentle as possible just to get this to kind of reform. So I'm going to put a little bobby pin right in this kind of this section right here, this curve, just to keep just a little bit of height. I just literally stuffed it right in, and it right in that curve, and that just kind of helps to keep that height where it's supposed to be. and hopefully it won't fall too much throughout the day. Another thing I like to do is usually in this last part, I'll put a very small bobby pin just within this little part of the wave, because my hair likes to kind of get all together down at this bottom part, and I want to try to keep that as separate as possible. Okay, so I just continue to brush things out. I always like to have a little bit of pomade in my hands while I'm smoothing everything out. This pomade that I'm using is probably the best pomade that I've ever tried. It's definitely a more natural product, and it does not feel sticky. It doesn't weigh my hair down. A lot of the other pomades just feel like they leave a residue on my hair even after I, kind of have it in for the whole day. It just feels really sticky. This doesn't. It gives a nice shine. It gives some hold, but I feel like my hair it really loves it. I don't know if it's just taking it all in. But it feels fantastic. It gives a good bit of hold. I still need some hairspray to hold things together, but I really like it. I'm very happy with it. So I don't mind having a little bit on my hands as I'm going through and just brushing things out and seeing where the curls want to go. But I'm pretty happy with, I'm going to redo this little bobby pin guy. There we go. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. So I would be more than happy to just leave this the way it is and go about my day. Like I said, the first day I try to leave it down as much as possible because I really want to keep these waves and make sure that they are nice and solid. So I do have them for the rest of the week. But with my wet set, it gives a nice strong wave, a nice strong curl. And as you can see just from brushing how much my hair kind of came down a bit. So here's the back. I think the waves turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with them. And so that's it. So you've now witnessed my entire wet set and now the brush up from that set. And again, this is your foundation. This is your absolute foundation for any hairstyle that you want to do. I could take my hairstyle right now and do victory rolls. I could do a half up, half down. I could do a poodle updo. Pretty much any hairstyle that I would want to do, I now have this foundation of curls to go ahead and do that. I'm not saying that it would all be easy. There's definitely some manipulation that would need to be done, but it can be done. And these curls are going to last me. They're going to last me more than 7 days. But I wash my hair once a week. I've gone as long as 16 days when I was on vacation once, and my hair was fine. I had curls. It was, I used a hairnet a lot, so it definitely helped preserve my curls for longer. But make sure that you are doing a good, strong set to have that fundamental style and in your toolbox. That way you can go off and do any other style that you want. And again, I highly recommend you look for actual photographs of women in the time and try to emulate their hair, and notice that they have fluff, they have some frizz, their hair moves when they talk. It's not a complete helmet on their head. So I hope this was helpful for you, and if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'm always happy to help. And I hope you can, get over to my blog and check out some of my older posts, and just like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Thanks.